You guys remember that adorable little hacker girl with the pigtails in Street Fighter V's DLC story mode? Well, this is her now. Feel old yet? Her name is Li-Fen, and if you're wondering who exactly this girl training with Chun-Li is, well, you clicked on the right video, because in this video, I'll be going over the very beginning of Li-Fen's story, who Li-Fen is, and her potential in the Street Fighter universe. I'll be going over Li-Fen's story in the order of the Street Fighter timeline. So though she made her first in-game appearance in Street Fighter Third Strike, her first appearance in the Street Fighter timeline is in fact in Street Fighter V, because the events of Street Fighter V take place before the events of Third Strike. Let me make that clear from the get-go. Let's begin. Li-Fen would make her first appearance in the Street Fighter timeline around the events of the Black Moons in Street Fighter V. She was one of the many abducted hackers who were brought to Shadaloo to work on their project named Chains. Project Chains was a terrorist project by Shadaloo. Its goal was to increase the power of Psycho Power using Black Moons that would be placed all around the world. The moons would radiate Psycho Power from them, powering Shadaloo to unfathomable power levels. But the moons would require a small chest-like piece in order to activate them. A hacker there who was against the plans of Shadaloo managed to steal the pieces and send each piece to different fighters around the world in hopes of them stopping the moons. Because just like these chess pieces can power it, it can also deactivate it. Li-Fen would first arrive to Shadaloo via helicopter. While being escorted by two Shadaloo grunts, Rashid, who was there for different reasons, would intervene as he thought Li-Fen was being kidnapped. But to his surprise, after defeating the two grunts and telling her they would escape together, she says,
"You think you just saved me?"
What?
Rashid, realizing her situation was complicated, will pull out his phone and show her a picture of a friend he was looking for. Li-Fen, recognizing the friend, would point him to the direction of said friend. Soon after, the World Warriors would gather all the pieces and infiltrate the Shadaloo head base and attempt to stop the Black Moons. While there, Chun-Li would get the attention of Li-Fen. Li-Fen recognizes Chun-Li as the holder of the Merope, one of the pieces. Chun-Li offers to rescue Li-Fen like Rashid did, but again she turns down her offer as she tells Chun-Li she has to find someone before she can go. Someone named the Usher. Fen flees, leaving Chun-Li confused and most curious about Li-Fen and what she was up to. But she could not pursue her as the main objective there was to stop the Black Moon. Unfortunately for Li-Fen, Fong, who was the overseer of Project Chains, revealed to her that the Usher, the person she was looking for, has been killed already. It was revealed at this time that the Usher and Rashid's friend was actually the same person. The Usher had knowledge that could stop the Black Moons, so that's why Li-Fen was seeking her. She was hoping to find a means to stop this chaos. Fong tells Li-Fen to activate a program called the Descent Program, and if she didn't, he would melt her just like he melted the Usher. The Descent Program was thought to be unstoppable, but Li-Fen had no choice. She had to activate the program. But little did Fong know, the Usher had one more trick up their sleeve. Before being killed, they programmed a subliminal code that could stop it. This unknown code lied within a riddle that only one person could decipher. After finding the riddle and realizing that Rashid was the Usher's friend, Li-Fen sent a voice message to Rashid telling him the riddle, assuming that he knew it. And Rashid in fact does. Rashid makes his way to the drive powering the Black Moons and puts the answer into the riddle. This would finally put a stop to the Black Moons once and for all, saving the world. Fong figures this out, and let's just say he's not too pleased. He finds Li-Fen with the intention of killing her on sight, but thankfully Chun-Li intervenes, defeating him, saving Fen. Meanwhile, the battle between Bison and Ryu leaves the Shadaloo base ready to collapse. Chun-Li makes the decision to take Li-Fen with her and decides to adopt her as her very own. Li-Fen takes a while to adjust to living with Chun-Li, often looking very sad at times. Li-Fen finds Chun-Li's yellow ribbons she used to wear in the Alpha series when she was a rookie. Chun-Li lets her try them on, and Li-Fen immediately takes a liking to them. Li-Fen is happy she found someone that she can trust and rely on. She wants to be just as strong as Chun-Li one day. The two agree to train together and make that vision a reality. Next, the events of Third Strike would take place. Peacefully living together would not last long, as Urian and the Secret Society would take an interest to Li-Fen, kidnapping the young girl once again. Chun-Li, of course, goes to rescue Li-Fen. She finds Urian, and the two come to an agreement that if she shows him her skills, the legendary legs that took down Shadaloo, he would return Li-Fen to her. Chun-Li would defeat Urian, rescuing her beloved Li-Fen. In the end, Chun-Li is shown teaching a seminar to a class of small children. She wants to teach them the true meaning of strength and beauty. Li-Fen is seen learning alongside the other kids. This now brings us to Street Fighter 6, where Li-Fen is all grown up and seems to become a quite good fighter herself. She is seen sparring with Chun-Li but is being outclassed with ease. What she is doing now is yet to be seen. After learning what there is to learn about Li-Fen, who exactly do I think she is? For one, Li-Fen is very timid. Ever since the beginning of her story mode, she would struggle to make eye contact with other fighters, often looking at her shoes most of the time. She was no Sakura or Mel, who would brim with confidence and inspiration. She was very timid. And I think this came from her losing her parents at such a young age. You know, losing the ones closest to you, the ones who make you feel the most comfortable, it really takes a toll on one's confidence, which I feel explains it. Now, it is unclear what happened to Li-Fen's parents. I do see some sources say that they were also brought to Shadow to work on the Black Moons, though I find this very unlikely due to Li-Fen never even mentioning them, let alone trying to find them. It's almost as if she already knows what happened to them, and that they've already been killed, fortunately. Though she is very shy, she has shown signs of bravery. She had 2 opportunities to leave the Shadow Loop base, but decided to stay both times, as she knew she had knowledge that no one else had that could stop the Black Moons. I'm sure she knew by doing this, it could have costed her her life, but it seemed that was a price she was willing to pay, because even after Fong threatened her life, she decided to send the riddle from the Usher to received that could stop it, basically disregarding the threat from earlier, which really is a brave move for a kid at such a young age. Next one's an obvious one. Li-Fen is extremely smart. At a young age, she's already a master coder, it seems. I mean, just look how she's using this tablet right here. Wait a second, is that Python? Also, I believe her high intelligence could come into handy with her fighting style. Some of the best fighters in MMA are some of the smartest. For example, we have George St. Pierre, we have Corey Sandhagen, we have Dominic Cruz, and Ryan Hall, just to name a few. Each of these fighters have their own interesting take on fighting, but one thing they have in common is that they really dissect every little aspect of the fighting game, which is what I feel that makes them so great. Now, if Li-Fen can incorporate her IQ into her fighting style, she'll be an unstoppable force. The IQ of Li-Fen plus the skills of Chun-Li, like Jesus Christ, that is a killing machine right there. So who do I think Li-Fen is? She's a very brave girl, but also very timid and very smart. Now, as far as Li-Fen's potential in Street Fighter 6, I'd say it's very promising. Like I said in the previous segment, Li-Fen is very smart, so incorporating that in her fighting style could make for a dangerous fighter. But something I feel means more than that is that she's under the wing of the Kung Fu warrior goddess Chun-Li. Now, don't quote me on this, but Li-Fen could be the second coming of Chun-Li. You know, maybe so. If Li-Fen picks up on the Kikokens and the spinning bird kicks, Li-Fen has all the tools to become the best, one of the best Street Fighters in the Street Fighter franchise. She's by far the smartest and most intelligent fighter, and combine that with the skills and knowledge of Chun-Li, now that makes for a fucking ultimate killing machine fighter. Like, that would be out of this world. But as I mentioned in the previous segment, Li-Fen has a pretty traumatic past with fighting. She could end up like Gohan, like in a Gohan situation in Dragon Ball, associating fighting with conflict and negative events, thus making her give up that path. But then again, in Chun-Li's character story mode, she did say she wanted to be just as strong as Chun-Li, as opposed to Gohan, where it seemed they never really got an option or even a say in the matter. But all these questions will be answered when Street Fighter 6 comes out, and you bet your ass I'm going to cover them. I really like Li-Fen's backstory. It isn't your typical I lost everything, now I want revenge story like Colleen and Falk. It's way more complete. She did lose her parents, but we got to see how she dealt with it. We got to see who she was as a person. We got to know her way better than Falk and Colleen, which is actually sad due to like them actually being playable and Li-Fen not. I feel like Li-Fen is often forgotten by many because how bad the story mode was in 5. I see people still referring to her as just a girl that Chun-Li adopted. Like, her name is Li-Fen, man. Put some respect on the name. But with Street Fighter 6, she's going to have way more eyes on her and hopefully develop as a character, also develop a bigger fan base. I really hope she does become playable one day. She doesn't have to be playable in 6. You know, I could wait till 7. I'm a patient man. I hope they don't give her like an over-the-top tech gameplay like Area from Fighting X Layer. Like, her moveset was fucking horrible. But with that being said, I hope you got something from this video. What are your thoughts on Li-Fen? Do you think she could become the next Chun-Li maybe? I will be honest, Li-Fen to me was just that girl in Chun-Li story mode before doing this. But after learning about her, she's pretty awesome if I do say so myself. I also wanted to quickly apologize for the sudden decrease in my upload schedule. Normally I have a good consistent rate of like pumping out videos, maybe like 3, 4 every 5 days. That doesn't sound good, but I mean, it's not my main priority. Like, I'm not a full-time YouTuber or whatever. So hopefully I'm gonna get back to the old groove of things, and yeah, that's pretty much it. With that being said, it's been the Masked Assailant, and I am signing off.